What's up, everybody? Matt Modi here, and I have 4 NBA player props for you guys to hammer for Wednesday, November 8th. Part of my betting strategy, and specifically for the NBA, is I find plays that I like, player props that I like, but instead of taking them at their main line, I pump up the numbers a little bit in hopes of getting pretty juicy odds. Now, I started off the year specifically doing 3-pointers. Didn't quite have the success that I wanted with that one, so I opened it up to all types of stats. Basically, if it's a plus money banger, it is eligible for me to hammer it. Early returns on this new strategy, so far so good. Last NBA betting slate, which would have been Monday, I gave out 4 NBA player props on this channel. I got 2 of those 4 to cash. Thanks to the pretty juicy odds, we end the day plus over 2 units. That brings our total profit season to date on these NBA player props to a small 1.30 units. As I mentioned, I was pretty much break even, specifically going with 3-pointers. So I decided to open it up a little bit, give myself a little bit more optionality in terms of these player props. So we'll see how things go moving forward. Very confident we will be successful moving forward. If you're not already, I would appreciate it if you could subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow me along with this journey. And let's talk pumped up NBA player props. So play number 1, this is in the Celtics versus 76ers game. We're taking Kristaps Porzingis, 20 plus points, plus 185 odds at FanDuel. So the Celtics in general have been phenomenal, and Porzingis specifically has been pretty good for them as well. He hasn't been great. He isn't stuffing the stat sheet, but he's playing pretty well. But for this specific matchup, I do love targeting Kristaps Porzingis. The guess here is that Embiid is going to take the majority of the work against Kristaps, and big men who can shoot always gives Embiid trouble. It makes sense. The way the Embiid likes to play defense, the way the Sixers play defense in general, is they play drop coverage with the center. That always leaves a ton of room for the big man, and if the big man can shoot, a lot of times they can take advantage of Embiid. The best example of this is Al Horford, who's consistently given Embiid trouble in his career. Porzingis, not as good of a defender against Embiid as Al Horford is, significantly better offensively. So I do expect Porzingis to have a pretty good game. Now for the Celtics, Tatum is the one who's been cooking. He's got 30 plus points in like 5 straight games, and he could very well cook the Sixers once again, like he's done basically his entire career. But I like putting my money on Porzingis as opposed to Tatum. Number 1, 20 plus points for Porzingis is not a ton of points, and we're getting it at plus 185 odds. Jason Tatum, his over-under is like 28 or 29.5, depending where you look. So it's just a higher number that he has to get. And 20 plus points for Porzingis, that's something that he's done in 3 of 6 games so far this year, including he's done it in the past 2. And if you look at the games that Porzingis has played against the Sixers, so you take out the very last game, the most recent game, I should say, he played limited minutes. That was right around the end of the year, so the Wizards were just tanking, basically doing everything they can to lose those games. He played limited minutes. You eliminate that game, Porzingis had gone 5 straight games, scoring 20 plus points against the Sixers. Granted, that was back to his Wizards days, back to his Mavericks days, and Embiid didn't play in every single one of those games. But the moral of the story is the way the Sixers play defense, a player like Porzingis, a big man who can shoot, is going to cause them trouble. Now, Nick Nurse has experimented a little bit differently on defense, so we'll have to see. Maybe they play Porzingis differently. Regardless of the matchup, even if they put Tobias Harris or anybody on Porzingis, he's going to have the matchup advantage. And the Sixers have more wings to throw at Jason Tatum than they had previously. Again, Tatum could still cook them. This is not me saying I think Tatum's going to have a bad game. More so, I'm more confident in Porzingis having a good game relative to what his over-under is. So Porzingis, big men who can shoot, have consistently killed the Sixers. I think that stays true in this one. So getting him 20 plus points is not a lot of points for plus 185 odds. The value's there. That's our first play. Next up in the Warriors versus Nuggets game, we're taking Nikola Jokic. You might have heard of him. To record a triple-double, plus 140 odds at FanDuel. All these plays are at FanDuel, I should say. So this is technically my only non-pumped up prop because I'm just taking him to record a triple-double, but it's still a plus money banger, so it counts in terms of my strategy here. I bet Jokic to record a triple-double the last game that he played, and he came through for me. So Not always am I able to get the picks that I like specifically on the video as odds change and odds come out over the course of the day. So I do recommend following me on Twitter where I will post plays as well. But regardless, I bet it last game and it hit. And I like Jokic to get a triple-double once again in this game. Jokic is so good. He can basically do whatever he wants on the court and be successful at it. That's been true so far this year. He's gotten triple-double 3 times so far. Like I mentioned, he did do it in the last game as well. And the 2 games prior to last game, he was 1 assist short in both of those games from getting another triple-double. So he could very well have 5 already. This is a massive game between the Nuggets and the Warriors. Massive game for both teams as the Warriors look like last year was a blip and they're going to be a good team once again this year. Jokic consistently kills the Warriors as he does basically every team. Last year, Jokic played 2 games against the Warriors. He had a triple-double in both of those games. The year prior, in his last 2 games against the Warriors, he had a triple-double in one of those 2. The 1 game he missed was 1 assist shy. So basically, if you summarize it, he's had a triple-double in 3 of his last 4 games against the Warriors. In the 1 game he didn't, like I said, he had exactly 9 assists. 1 assist away. Absurd player, gonna run away with the MVP likely once again. I'll keep riding with him to get a triple-double in situations like this. For plus 140 odds, the value's there. It's great. That's our second play. Next up, Clippers versus Nets. We're taking Paul George, 25 plus points, plus 200 odds at FanDuel. As I mentioned, every play here is at FanDuel. So Paul George has actually been pretty consistently good for the Clippers so far this year. Not a lot of talk has happened about the on-court play of the Clippers. For obvious reasons, there's a ton of stuff going on with the addition of James Harden. But overall, Paul George has hit 25 or more points in 4 of 6 games so far this year, and he's averaging 25.7 points per game. Obviously, the difference in this specific game and the reason why there's so much intrigue around the Clippers is the addition of James Harden. And I will admit, their first game together was not ideal for the pairing for all the Clippers. They lost to the Knicks, who have been really good on defense this year, but they lost to the Knicks, and Paul George only scored 10 points on 11 shots. But I got to admit, that is something that I find unlikely to continue. I don't think he's going to continue to only shoot 11 times. And I think this is a great opportunity to buy low on Paul George because I think people are going to be too scared off after 1 game with the slow start. Harden obviously likes to have the ball a ton. But of the core 4, whatever you want to call it, on the Clippers, Paul George is the really only one who can catch and shoot. Kawhi likes to dribble. Russ can't shoot. James Harden is basically allergic to catch and shoot 3-pointers. Paul George is not. He's an elite, one of the best catch and shoot 3-pointers in the entire NBA. And adding James Harden should only increase his opportunities to get open 3-pointers. He might not have as many ISO opportunities, but his the looks that he gets from 3 should be higher value, higher percentage looks. Outside of the last game, their first game with Harden, he has shot at least 16 attempts in every single game, and I think that is more likely to continue than it is him only shooting 11 times. I also think because he only shot 11, it's more likely to swing the other way in this game specifically, so I think he shoots a lot. I think he has a good game. And for what it's worth, both props.cash and Betting Pros, 2 sources that I like to use for my research, they have their own projections. They have him either at 25 or right around 25, so I do think the value is here at plus 200 odds as our third play. And last up, 4th and final pick of the evening, Raptors versus Mavericks. Kyrie Irving, 25 plus points, plus 165 odds at FanDuel. So for Kyrie, it's been a slow start from Kyrie Irving, especially from a scoring perspective. I'm not going to try and convince you anything other than that. But I don't think that is going to continue. He did miss some time, so he's only played in 5 games. But in those 5 games, he's only averaging 20 points per game, and he has yet to score 25 points in a game this season. I think, similar to Paul George, this is another great opportunity to buy low. Kyrie Irving is going to get his, unless there's a tangible difference in him as a player from last year and basically his entire career to this year. There's no way he's going to continue to score so little. The issue with this year is he's just not shooting great. He's only shot over 50% once this year, and that was a game in which he shot 9 of 15 against the Nuggets, and he only scored 22 points. So even in his best game, not super impressive. Outside of that 1 game, he shot 10 of 24, 6 of 17, 6 of 14, and then last game he shot 8 of 20. What I love about all those stats is the fact that he is putting up a ton of shot attempts, which I think is going to continue. And he's too talented of an offensive player to continue to shoot this much and have such little success doing so. Another reason why I like locking this in early is we don't know what the status is of Luka. And I only bring that up because he left their last game. Now, he did return, so he came back to play. But as of right now, when I'm recording this, there are no props listed for Luka. So he might end up sitting or at least be questionable. If that happens, I think that the odds in favor of Kyrie Irving are going to skyrocket. Since he's been a member of the Mavericks, he's only played 3 games without Luka. But in those 3 games, he has scored 25 or more points in every single game, scoring exactly 25 in one of his first games with the Mavericks, 38 points, and then 28 points in those 3 games. So even if Luka plays, I like it. If he doesn't play, this is going to be a screaming value. So I like it for plus 165 odds, rounding out our 4th and final pick of the evening. I put 1 unit on all of these plays individually. If we get 2 of them to hit, we're guaranteed to be profitable. If we get more, we will be rich. I also parlay all 4 of them together in a $5 parlay. If that hits, we will be sitting pretty. But that's all I got. Appreciate everybody for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and have a good one.